the Arizona Cardinals.
You know what? A lot of games we certainly can pick apart, but let's zero in on the Aaron Rodgers performance. 4 touchdowns. Take it away.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns. I thought he played well, but I think there's room for improvement. We saw a little bit of inaccuracy from him, but they got the job done. The story of this game was special teams. The special teams turnover and Chris Boswell knocking through the 60-yarder at the end of the game. I think it's a really good sign for Pittsburgh. You rush the ball for only 50 yards. You give up 180 yards of rushing, whatever it was, and you still find a way to win that football game. They're going to tighten that up. They're going to run the ball better as the year goes on. They're going to play better run defense, but a good win nonetheless for the Steelers.
And I know it's tough to look at the silver lining when you lose, and shout out to Aaron Rodgers that you see the numbers right here. The big 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions is what stands out. But on the flip side, Justin Fields, he looked good. He had his moments where he was throwing the ball. They opened it up for him, allowing him to use his legs, get outside the pocket. But he also did the traditional drop back, 3, 5-step, 7-step drops, and hitting on the money with his wide receivers. They just couldn't finish it out, but a really good showing by him. And speaking of quarterbacks, I got to give Daniel Jones a shout out. Listen, I don't know what it is about quarterbacks leaving New York. Look at Sam Darnold and what he did. And now all of a sudden Daniel Jones has left New York with the Colts. They just unlocked what Daniel Jones was supposed to be this whole time.
Listen, the only 3 quarterbacks that had their team score 30 points today, Daniel Jones, Justin Fields, and Aaron Rodgers. They're all in new places.
And listen,
thought that
in the words of the great poet LL Cool J that's hosting the VMAs tonight, don't call it a comeback. All of a sudden, preparation meets opportunity. Anthony Richardson goes down with an injury, and Daniel Jones gets the nod to start. And let's just keep it real. There wasn't much excitement in the NFL world. Everybody was saying, oh, Daniel Jones is going to start for the Colts. And I'm pretty sure he heard all that. He went out there and he was comfortable in the pocket, controlling the offense, dropping dimes. Yeah. Like, this is the Daniel Jones that we've been waiting on, and it's good to see him balling.
Listen, it is week 1, and not all overreaction should be done positively or negatively.
Yeah, but you got to show
their sides. Oh, no, well, no question about it. I think what he did, and I still, like you said, he was productive. He looked aggressive. He looked comfortable.
He looked comfortable.
You know, and that's the biggest thing to me, and he looked confident. So, I mean, for a guy like that who's been around, he had this second opportunity. The same thing with Justin Fields. He did as well. Aaron Rodgers. So these were people that went to different places, different teams, their first year, their first game. And you know what? It's a positive sign moving forward.
Well, I think there's some other teams who can take positives away from losses this week, too. It's the Dallas Cowboys the other night going against the Philadelphia Eagles. You can feel okay about where you're at and where you're going forward. I think you mentioned the New York Jets today and what they did, but I also look at the Cleveland Browns, right?
Yes.
They had Cincinnati Bengals on the rope. Everybody has written off the Cleveland Browns as being one of the worst teams in the league. They took them down to the wire, and they played tough today. I think that was a great job by Kevin Stefanski rallying that locker room and trying to take some positives as the season moved on.
They held the Cincinnati Bengals to under 200 yards of offense.
Yes.
Yeah. Joe Burrow had like 113 yards throwing. So what they did defensively was very, very impressive.
All right, I want to throw a random line out here. When was the last time the Kansas City Chiefs were in last place in the AFC West?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because they are currently in last place in the AFC West. All other teams.
After 1 week, you're not counting them out, are you, Matt?
I'm not counting that out.
God,
I'm just saying, when was the last time they were there?
No. But you bring up a good point, though. If you
to
want
answer the question, it's week 6, 2021.
How about that? So here's the thing. If you want to be competitive within your division, you got to start fast, and you also got to punch the best team in your division in the mouth.
And who
you got to
did that
make sure Xerxes tastes blood. And all of a sudden, you see KC having to deal with a week 1 loss and everybody else getting a victory. There's confidence within the
Nate, did you go there? Xerxes?
Yes, yeah.
That's
movie 300.
Cobwebs.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Also a historically significant figure. Go ahead, Bill.
I think week 1, it's very telling. It's very revealing a lot to your football team. You've not seen these guys play 4 quarters. And for some of these guys, they were winded today. This is the first time they've played 4 quarters and played a whole football game. They're going to be sore tomorrow. So it reveals a lot about your football team. And I think from right now, you kind of have to take it, dissect it, not overreact to some things, but all of a sudden you have to go keep an eye on some things because it may be worse than you think it is. So it's very much these first month of getting a feel for who the identity and what the identity of your football team is going to be.
I think one of the other overarching themes that we saw today was across the board, it seemed to me that there was poor offensive line play.
Yeah.
Across the board. The teams that were very good, the Green Bay Packers, they came out and dominated.
Yeah.
They ran the football. The New York Jets offensive line, I thought, played pretty good in the run game, rushing the football. Across the board, I think that's an area that we're going to see cleaned up from week 1 to week 2. This is the first time you're going through 4 quarters of game. Offensive line play is all about continuity, timing, rhythm, playing with the guys next to you. I think we see a big jump. A big jump from week 1 to week 2.
And the only thing I was saying is, like, you talk about that, and we talked about the pressure of the Green Bay Packers. The interior 3 of the Detroit Lions are not the same 3 they had a year ago.
Correct.
So this offensive line from the Detroit Lions is different. So you talked about, well, you know, they don't have Kenny Clark on the defense. They don't have TJ Slayton on that Green Bay Packer defense. Well, the Detroit Lions didn't have the interior 3 either. So I think that's a little bit of an area of concern because Jared Goff is a guy who needs to feel comfortable stepping up in that pocket.
That's for sure.
You know what? I know that I'm working with a very amiable Detroit Lions, and after the game, it was our Tracy Wolfson catching up with 2 of the stars of the game, quarterback Jordan Love and the recently acquired Micah. A couple of impressive players indeed. Hey, folks, and a reminder, the action playing in prime time. That's when Lamar Jackson and the Ravens visit Josh Allen and the Bills. Kickoff coming up at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. That's over on NBC.
You know, I think the one guy also we've not really talked about that much really is Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
Think about what Matt LaFleur, he's in the 7th season. He's gone to the playoffs 5 of his 6 years. He's transitioned from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love almost seamlessly. And I think he's kept...
Along with the drama that came along with Aaron Rodgers leaving.
Yes, and I think that and the pressure that comes with being the Green Bay Packer head coach.
That's true.
You know, all the things that go with that, the history of what this the organization is all about. And he has done this in such a quiet, confident demeanor that just fits this community. And I just don't think he gets enough credit because I think this guy is one of the best coaches in National Football League.
I absolutely agree with you. You know, he's my quarterback coach for 2 years in Atlanta, and I know him very well. I think he is quiet when it comes to being media, getting out there and kind of, he's not the one who's beating the drum to kind of talk about himself. But he had this team ready to play. He had this organization ready to perform in week 1 in a game that was big. And he's done that now consistently during his entire tenure here. I think he's a creative play caller, too.
Yeah.
I think, you know, often in that tree, you talk about a Kyle Shanahan or a Sean McVay or a Mike McDaniel. Matt LaFleur is very much a part of that and was from the start, even in those days in Washington. I think he's an incredibly creative play caller. I think he's a great quarterbacks coach. I think he knows how to coach young quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks, whatever it may be. And I think we're going to see him get the best out of Jordan Love moving forward.
And he doesn't generalize his philosophy. It's not one blanket approach on every team. Each team is very unique. It's like a fingerprint. So he makes sure, depending on who he has at wide receiver, their different skill sets, the tight ends and running backs, that's how I'm going to call this game. That's how I'm going to put together this game plan. And that's why I can appreciate his approach week in and week out. Coach, let me ask you something, because you talked about it being week 1, right? And how you can't really panic. It's not as good as you think it is. It's not as bad as you think it is. Let's just take these 2 teams, for example. You're going in and you're talking to these guys in the locker room. The Packers, after a big win at home, up against the division champs. And then a team like the Lions, taking an L, and things did not go your way. Let's not act like they were in it. To keep it real, the Green Bay Packers controlled this from the jump. What are you saying to both squads?
I mean, I think from Matt LaFleur, I think we saw it from Josh Jacobs. They talked about last year, those 2 games were 2 games that they could have easily have won. So it really does come down to a play here or a play there, and it's a matter of focus. It's a matter of being able to attention to detail, the little things that are going in, the preparation you have to have. Matt LaFleur, how many times did Jordan Love throw the ball? 22 times. Let's play to our strengths. Let's allow it to keep that defense fresh. Let's make sure we run the football enough. And if I'm right now, Dan Campbell, hey, we got beat.
Yeah.
We're on top. We're going to be the barometer for everybody, the litmus test for every team that we play, because that's the responsibility we have. That's what we've created for ourselves, and that's embracing. And so, yes, we didn't play very well. And I think you got to go back and look in the mirror. Let's just go back to who are we?
Yeah.
And where are we on offense? Okay, and defensively, we got to be able to stop the run, and we got to be able to get them into 3rd down situations. And we could not do that today.
Yeah.
And they had chances to get back into it. Like I said, that turnover at the end of the first half
that
was huge.
tough.
They score there, boom, the second half, it's a 1-score game. So, it's a very fine line.
Yeah.
But that's a very fine line you have to walk, and I think you have to keep it in perspective.
Keep it in.
All right, let's go from the Green Bay Packers to a former Green Bay Packer, Aaron Rodgers, who is now